What's up, everyone? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Knowledge and Relationships here on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitch for tonight. So, this as usual, this is your boy M3, and we're gonna have another special live talk. We haven't done one in a minute since our break, and we'll get things started. But let me go ahead and introduce Mr. Best in the World for those who are new. So salutes to Mr. Best in the World, our network manager.
Yo. What's going on? What's going on? What's good,
Not
y'all?
much.
Hey, glad to be back. Glad to
Mhm.
have his first interview, and I'm glad that the guest that we have tonight, man, she's incredible, wonderful, incredible, just talented human being, man. And when y'all hear her story, when you hear her poetry, you're gonna be amazed, and it's definitely going to change your life. I'm telling you. You know what I mean? You have to hear her words, you have to hear her journey, and she's here with us tonight. You know what I mean? So let's get it.
Yep. Before we bring her up, real quickly, I saw a couple of people in the chat. So shout outs to Dramo. Thank you for tuning in. You
Ramo,
know,
what's good?
Lady Phoenix, salutes to you. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, Lady Phoenix.
You know, shout out to you guys, man. Y'all always been faithful like from day one. So we appreciate you. But without further ado, we're not gonna hold our guests up. So let me introduce the beautiful Bonita poetry. All right.
Oh, y'all are nice.
Hey.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Pretty good. How you doing?
Pretty good. It's been a good day.
Nice.
And three,
Let me
you
turn
gotta
the
turn the
music down a little
music
bit.
down just a little bit, bro.
Is it good now? I just turned down a notch.
A little bit more.
Oh, okay. All right.
Perfect. And if you
All
can't,
right.
put me
Thank
at the
you.
bottom. Put me at the bottom. Put our guest
Oh
up top. Put me
yeah.
at the top.
Definitely for sure.
Oh, y'all
Okay.
are so kind.
Nah, I appreciate it. You know, that's what we do. We gotta treat our guests like with the utmost prestige, you know? Because you don't have to be here, but you are here. And for that, we are definitely grateful for your presence. And this is a perfect opportunity for us to like get to know you and for you to get to know us as well. So salutes like to you, Bonita poetry.
Thank you. And thank you for the nice introduction. That was really sweet. Thank you.
No, hey, anytime, you know. Real quick, shout outs to Watch or Watch. Thank you for tuning in on the Twitch Gang side. So salutes to my brother.
Hunter
All
Watts,
right,
what's good,
so
baby? What's going on?
yeah. So yeah, so the first question we wanna know is basically if you could tell us about yourself. Who is Bonita Poetry? What's the
First and
origin of it?
foremost, I'm going to start where the name came from.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bonita Poetry came from Bonita Applebaum by A Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
So, they are the ones who made me like really fall in love with hip hop and like made me like stop dead in my tracks type of thing.
Mm.
And I just loved how they did everything differently with like a jazzy feel to it. As far as myself, I am from California, born and raised, Northern California, Pasadena area, City of Roses. I started writing when I was 11. I would say I used to write short stories, and with writer's block, that made me get into poetry. I say like around 12 or 13 years old, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really considered myself a poet because I kind of like equated that with like hip hop and rap and stuff. So I just was like my own worst critic and was like, no, there's no way this is like poetry or whatever. But then the writer's block kept happening and I just kept writing like more like poems here and there. And
Yeah.
people were telling me like, hey, this is poetry. And I was like, all right, like, maybe I am a poet. And thankfully, because of the pandemic, I started diving into more like open mics and stuff because they were all virtual. I did a couple like in-person ones, but I feel like doing it virtually made me really comfortable. So I'm grateful for that.
Okay. So that's where you got your start. All right. And you know, the old saying is always, you know, practice makes perfect.
Yep.
So, you know, as long as you're doing something and you're pursuing it and you're doing it what you love to do, then of course, eventually through time, you know, you build up that craftsmanship. You build up something that you love, and so that way, you know, and the funny thing is that um the love through like what you do, it actually brings out and exudes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I feel you on that.
Yeah, I completely agree. For me, like all of my poems, like I have tons of journals, all of that was gonna go to the grave. Like I was never gonna perform it. I was never gonna share it. If someone happened to find it, because I have like 3 sisters. And so I was
Mhm.
just like, hey, you know, I would write like instructions, like if you find this, make some money off of it, because I was gonna take it to the grave. Because I feel like it's like my most inner personal thoughts and feelings. But diving into those virtual open mics really like pushed me and challenged me.
Okay, okay.
Hey, M3, you see who
Mhm.
in the chat? Oh man, she in the
Wait,
chat, and she
wait,
became a
uh-oh.
member. Oh my gosh!
Wait, who? When the raindrops fall from the sky, we have a new member. Stay high. Salute. So she stole my thunder, and thank you so much for becoming a new channel member. You know, hey, much blessings like to you. Um, real brief. She stole my thunder. That's another one who was like one of our day ones, who's always been supporting our channel before the monetization. And so ever since then, like she pops in and sneaks around, like, you know, with her, you know, beautiful Canadian self. And she's always constantly giving. So if anything, people in the chat, please give back to her, subscribe to her channel, and help her to become monetized as well. But again, thank you so much for being a new channel member. Man, I gotta get a new video for channel members now. You know, I got videos for super chats, but not for the channel members. But anyways, thank you so much. She said, "Love the song, knowledge of relationships." All right. Look, so you know that's the best part that I will say, if anything, because we always do look for the negative side about how social media will ruin social lives and social conversations and activities. But however, when it's used in a proper manner, like you could actually build and actually grow via social media. Even with
Mm-hmm.
this, having a platform is the use of social media. And one of the biggest components, right, to even get like a following or people to even hear your work is really Instagram. Um, you know, at one point, Instagram was something I would say that's underrated. But as time goes by, like you start to learn that Instagram is definitely a great source, a great tool to network with other people and to connect and to bring them into these platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And so what how I know you, like, you know, from Best, and by watching, like, you know, like clips that you'll make from Instagram, you know, I want to kind of like, you know, dive into it with the social media aspects of it. So what my few questions that I have, right, is that okay, you know, with you having a following like with over like 900 followers, you know, and I think you have 190 posts.
Mm-hmm.
Could you share with us like your journey on the platform and what motivates you to start sharing your thoughts, your poetry on Instagram? I know you said like through you know, like through the, you know, social, I mean, sorry, not social media, but you know, virtually.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, what made you decide, hey, I'm going to use Instagram as a tool to really bring my work out here?
I feel like doing so before I really went into open mics, I used to do DM reads, and
Okay.
I would send my poetry and have people read them. And then like kind of got a following from that a little bit, not too much or anything. And then back last November, I actually lost my job. I became unemployed. So then as I was like trying to figure out like what I'm going to do for work and stuff like that, in the meantime, I was like, I might as well, I was just kind of like, let's see what it would be like to do these virtual open mics and stuff like that. I did a couple, but I wasn't as frequent with me being unemployed. And I think that's what helped me because I was consistent and it was, you know, frequent, and I started talking to people and, excuse me. And then I think the thing that really helped me was I went on to Origin of Thought and my girl Just Star, gang. She like, I liked her open mics because they were different from any other open mic. It wasn't like do your piece, let's know your process, and that's kind of it. Like all of her, I think what she titles it is like laughter, vibes, music, something like that. And she really would have a conversation with you. And it wasn't like a conversation about your process. It was like, how are you doing? How's this? Like a general conversation that you really don't see on social media anymore. So I feel like that made me a little bit more comfortable. And then she put me on to Origin of Thought to where I was able to start hosting my own open mics because I just knew how much that meant to me and how much it broke me out of my shell. So I wanted to bring that to other people, like pay it forward. So I barely started hosting on Origin of Thought in July. So from November to July, hosting my own open mic on their platform, my platform, and then I was offered a third platform, which I'm going to start doing on Tuesday. It was perfect timing. And I think putting myself out there also helped because I would hop on open mics constantly. If they were available and I was available, I was just hopping on and requesting. So I think consistency was the thing. And also the love and support that I received. Because like I mean, as humans, we all are like our worst critic, right? So like, you know, I'll be like, dang, I should have like worded it this way as I'm saying my poem, like in my own head, as I'm saying, like, oh, this word didn't hit, you know what I mean? And then at the end of my pieces, like people would give me feedback and like compliments, and I was just like, yo, like this is amazing. So I wanted to provide that for other people.
No, and that's good. Like it seems like organically, it's like you kind of build like a community of people who are like-minded, but who are willing to help you grow. And because like you have those people around your circle, it's like now they're like your core audience because you have elevated and transitioned into a higher level. Whereas like some people are not really open into a lot of criticism or a lot of advice. It's like their way and then that's it. And nothing else. And so I want to ask, right? Okay. For the viewers who are watching, what is your theme? When you're on Instagram and you're having like poetry nights, like basically like do you have a fixed subject, right, for your poetry? Like it's about like social issues or politics, it's about religion, like in those examples.
So I would say in the beginning, when I was first starting out, a lot of my poetry was about depression and anxiety because I wasn't able to talk about it within my own family, which I feel is pretty common within the Black community, especially for Black women. The more I got out of my shell is where I started writing about pretty much everything. So there's the depression and anxiety, which we all like suffer from, and then social issues because that's my experience and how I see the world. Like I have to see it through a different lens because I'm a Black person, I'm a Black woman. I'll write about I'm starting to write about love a little bit more. Like I'm quieting down my ego a little bit by doing so. I love love. You know what I mean? I'm a hopeless romantic, but writing about it, it's something in me that makes me uncomfortable. So diving into it kind of it's kind of nice because I'm kind of getting rid of that uncomfortability. But
Yeah.
outside of that, I would honestly say I write about everything, especially about social issues. I have like a poetry series that I've been doing lately called Proclamation Emancipation. So I think I'm up to part 4, part 5 right now. The first part is about what I went through as a kid, and then what happened presently, what I've seen through society, and kind of like a clapback poem, basically. Like I probably wasn't able, like not probably, but I wasn't able to stand up for myself in those situations. But now getting older and healing, like this is how I actually feel about it. I'm a pretty outspoken person, but I would kind of keep those conversations with like-minded individuals. Right now, I'm in the space where I don't care. I'm just going to write whatever I want to write and how I see the world and how I view the world. And the number one thing that really helped me with that was from Kendrick Lamar from The Heart Part 5, where he says, life is perspective and my perspective may be different from yours.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? That's actually like a true like statement. And instead of comparing my perspective to other people's perspective, I'm just going to write about my perspective. And instead of like seeking for people to understand me and to listen to me, I'm just going to write what I want to write.
No, and that's good because you're it's like you're allowing your gift, your talent to pretty much be therapeutic. So because there's limitations in having conversations with people, unfortunately.
Yep.
Not everyone is going to be open-minded. Not everyone is going to have a free spirit without judgment. And even for the ones who are free-spirited, we do judge at a certain degree, you know, based on what we hear and what we perceive as. So it's like you're using poetry as a way for you to talk, but then it's like, as you listen to yourself, then it's like you're receiving. And the last thing I would say, right, because I know Mr. Best want to say something, but it takes bravery to, you know, be open about things that you're not really comfortable about. So things that you can't really express yourself, like you mentioned, like family, you know, I definitely understand. Not a lot of people you could really open up to. So if you don't know where to find that safe haven, you're gonna have to create one yourself. But I'll digress.
Man, wow, that was some great stuff y'all shared, for real, for real. I'm gonna say this, like, one, definitely I have to give, you know, a big shout out to Just Star Misdemeanor. Without her, like, I wouldn't have met Bonita, like, you know what I mean? And she just welcomed me with open arms. Like, as soon as I met her, she like, come on, fam, you're gonna do the show with me, and you're gonna be my co-host, and you're gonna meet some cool people. And I was like, all right, cool, let's do it.
She doesn't really give you an
And,
option either when she tells you to follow.
nah, ain't no option at all.
You have to do
it. She gave me a date. She said, brother, we doing it this day. I said, okay. She said, what time zone you in? I told her time zone. She said, well, you gotta be here this time. So I made sure I was there. And when I got there, you know what I mean? Yo, it was incredible. And also shout out to Rhea Nicole. Gotta shout her out as well. She's super dope. You know what I mean? She did this wrestling poem that I'll never forget. It was incredible.
That's my co-host, y'all. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's my co-host.
Nah, you good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, she's incredible as well. Then I met Bonita, and then, you know, like, her vibe was just, it was just instant like connection. We just had an instant vibe, you know what I mean? And we was able to talk. She did her poetry. And then she also shared about her life and just her journey and everything else. And I was like, oh man, like, yo, this is something that, like, I definitely need to be more a part of. I need to definitely continue to be supportive of. And it was the authenticity, because a lot of times, you know, I look at a lot of different spaces, and, you know, I try to support as much people as I can. And sometimes I'll be getting, you know, I get DMs and all types of day and night, and I still, like, I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible, or whenever, you know, I'm not sleeping or doing whatever I need to do. But the thing I love about, like, Origin of Thought, and even what you do, Benita, is the fact that, like, it's just real conversations. You know what I mean? It's no bullshit. There's no script. It's nothing. It's like this is real human experience. You know what I mean? It's that raw human experience that like we all know that we encounter and feel, but nobody's talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's saying anything. And we all know we feel these things. We all know that we're going through stuff. We all know that we're feeling a lot about the way society is. We feel a lot about not being able to connect with the people that we care about, with our family, our friends. We feel a lot about that. Our emotions and thoughts are not being considered, right? That people are just looked at as monetary puppets. You know what I mean? And we looked at as people. Excuse me. And y'all bring the human experience, all y'all bring human experience to the forefront. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what you're talking about. Like, and it could be politics, it could be whatever. It's real, real things that we are all experiencing. You know what I mean? And I think the thing is that we got into society where, we're afraid to excuse me, y'all. We're afraid to express what we feel. You know what I mean? Because we all trying to chase the bag. You know what I mean? We all trying to get that right image. You know what I'm saying? We all trying to fit in with family or supposed people. And it's like, nah, man. You know what I mean? Fuck all that. Like, like we gonna say what it is, and this is what's really going on, and that's it. You know what I mean? That's all I gotta say. So, yeah, thank y'all for creating that atmosphere, and thank y'all for always inviting me and involving me and including me in what y'all do.
Thank you for coming on and always supporting. Like whenever I send you a DM or I post something, you're always commenting like all the time, and I always see you pop in if on open mics if you're like not joining those open mics. And the way you describe Origin of Thought in general is like how I want my open mics. That's why I don't really do like themes, because I know how I feel if I feel limited. I don't like being limited. I don't like being put in a box. So I wouldn't want anyone to feel that way, especially when it comes to art and creativity. I don't feel like there's really a box. Like I get there's some pages, they have their theme and that's their thing. And I get that that's cool. Or they have like their writing prompts or whatever. I don't know if it's a Gemini in me or what. Cause I'm like, I don't know what mood I'm going to be in on Saturday for this theme. Like I want to, or like say like there's a piece that I just wrote and I'm excited to, do an open mic for, but it doesn't fit that theme. So I wanted to, give a space and a platform that other people gave to me, and then also to where people don't feel limited. Because I feel like when you are limited, that's where your inner critic comes in. You know what I mean? Okay. And it stifles your creativity. It stifles like your thoughts, your process. And I don't like being stifled or like limited, because then I feel like, oh, okay, then I don't want to do the piece anymore, or I don't want to perform this piece anymore. But that's just me personally. Other people may be different, but for me, that's how I feel about it.
Yo, I'm glad that you said that you was a Gemini, like, because Gemini's like they're straight shooters and they say exactly what they feel. And the outside world will say that they're crazy. They say that too about us Aries, that we're crazy or whatever, and that we're high heads. No, it's not that we're crazy. We're just uncovering all the bullshit that you just want to cover up. And we're just saying, this is what it is. You know what I mean? And that's just it. So people want to hide in their boxes or behind their images or the publicists or whatever. But, you know what I mean? When you really uncover the real truth and you really make people feel, you know what I mean? Like, hey, this is what's really going on. Some people are uncomfortable with that. You know what I mean? They don't really want to talk about certain things and they don't want to really discuss certain things. But these things need to be talked about. They need to be said. So thank y'all for always having that freedom and creating that freedom to say the things that you really feel. So, yeah.
And we need more like that, too, because, like I said, we're living in a world where we have like a lot of sheep, but we lacking a lot of shepherds. And so, whenever like you guys have something going on and you're speaking your mind, like you're actually reaching out to like a lot of people that really need it. We get caught up too engulfed like with a lot of BS that goes on in social media. And I think that's what makes a lot of people stupid. But when you have something that actually is intellectual, like actually intrigues the mind, I think that will be like a good relief, like for like a lot of people. So yeah,
Thank you.
definitely keep doing what you're doing.
Thank
Now,
you.
now I know like one of the drawbacks with Instagram, unlike with like YouTube notifications, Instagram notifications are like a little subtle. Like sometimes by the time I get a notification and I'm like, okay, somebody's live, and then I'm tuning in, the live is already ended. And I'm like, why am I getting this notification now? And the live stream is already over. And sometimes people they don't save the live stream, so you can't really go back for replay value. So I just gotta make sure like I catch you guys when you guys do go live, so I can make sure I support you guys all the way.
That's another thing that I like about these open mics, or a lot of the channels that like I do open mics for, or that I go on. It's a weekly thing.
Yeah.
And so like mine I have every Sunday and then Wednesday and then one coming Tuesday. There's two other poets who does theirs like every Saturday, and then they're consistent as well. You know what I mean? So like if I miss this one, I know there's going to be the next one, and those are the ones I kind of go to the most because like in one of my poems I say like I'm fiending for open mics like AA meetings, because like let's say like that's my therapy. Like if I'm not able to write anything, or if I'm having writer's block, or I had a crappy day where I feel like I need to punch someone in the face but I don't want to go to jail, so I need to calm down, I will get on Instagram like searching for open mics to see if anyone's doing like a surprise one or like the weekly one to see if I can get on the list. And I also feel like that's helped me, one, with my poetry, because it's challenged me like, oh, there's an open mic coming up. Do I want to do something new? Do I want to do something old type thing? And then also like it kind of gives me something to look forward to. Like let's say I had a shitty week and I didn't do any open mics like myself as hosting. I know that there's these two open mics that I love so much on Saturday that's going to happen. So I can look forward to that.
Okay, that's what's up. Yeah. That's a good way to like, put it like, you miss it's like you miss a train, go catch the next one, And that's good, like, that you do have a community where you're not really missing out, but at the same time, as you were saying, like you're doing things weekly, so you're not getting burned out.
Yep.
And that's the most important thing, like because we could love something so much that we put our time, our craftsmanship into it, but then we're trading our health along with it, whether it be our mental health or our physical health. And part of like one of the reasons, and just to be transparent, part of one of the reasons why like we took an extended break, because with all the work that we've been doing, like sometimes sitting down, well, I want to say sometimes, most of the time you're sitting down, you're on the computer, you're not doing much like physical activity, and especially if you're not really eating the right proper foods, it could cause some serious health problems. And so I was going through my health challenges as far as for blood pressure for a minute, probably from the summer until now. And the most recent one was I took my blood test or whatever, and now my levels is back to normal, which is it's a huge thing because I was at the high range, but I had to focus on prioritizing like my health first, mental health, physical health, and taking care of my body, because all that stuff is essential. You know what I mean? The mind, the body, the spirit. You got to take care of all these things. There's no trade into like one or the other, And so, my encouragement is that like, keep doing what you're doing. But if you feel like you ever need to take a break, definitely do so, because by the time you come back, you're going to be 10 times stronger and you're going to be more ready to go.
Thank you. That's a great reminder. I do feel a break coming in a way. How long that's going to be, that's up to me, because I just moved to a new state, a new apartment, new job. And like me, I honor my commitments. It's hard for me to be like, hey, I can't do it this week. My shows for Sunday and today, I did take a break. But I feel like maybe a longer one might come. I think I'm gonna wait till I'm settled because everything's so everywhere right now.
Mhm.
Like I kind of need the open mics in a way, whether it's hosting or performing. But everything you said of health wise, like mind, body, and spirit and stuff like that, I completely agree. Because like my blood pressure goes high when I'm severely stressed out. I'm pretty sure it's high right now because I'm so stressed out. Not like bad or anything. It's just like I want everything to just be settled, but I have to be patient about it. And patience is not my biggest strong suit.
Yeah.
And high blood pressure in my family is a huge thing. Like my dad had a stroke because of high blood pressure, and I had to be his caretaker for 6 years because of that, on top of so many health issues.
Sorry, right?
Yeah, and then like my mom had like a massive heart attack, so I'm always checking in with myself, checking in with my body, and going back to the pandemic, since I wasn't able to work out like I used to, because working out helps in so many ways. I really went into like meditation, which I feel has helped me a lot more. And so I'm finally almost getting to the place where I can incorporate my meditation plus working out, and I'm excited to see where that's going to take me health wise.
Okay. Yeah, meditation is definitely like a good tool, and also underrated as well. We hear about prayer, we hear about exercise, but meditation is barely talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it does have a lot of essential properties into it, which will help, or I guess I have to say maybe, for YouTube, may lower, blood pressure and stress levels.
Yep.
When you're not thinking about a lot of worries, you're not thinking about your day-to-day work life. The only thing you have to focus on is just basically where will you want to be in a place that will make you happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I also feel meditation has also helped with my poetry as well, because it has broadened my perspective. I'm not so focused on what's happening presently and like the stresses. I can kind of like focus on what I want to do, how I want to do it, and what I want my future to look like. Now, as far as if me having control over that, I don't have any control, even though as much as I try to. But it allows me, it brings me back to like my imagination. I feel like as an adult, we don't use our imagination enough because, we're kind of like taught and told like that's just for kids. Focus on your responsibilities, focus on the present, you know what I mean? And I feel like with meditation, I kind of got brought back to my younger self. And it reminded me all of the things that I used to love outside of being a daughter, a caretaker, you know what I mean? Or just being an employee at some job. I was like, wait a minute, what are the things that I like to do? Back in the day, before I had responsibilities or before I had trauma and drama and all of those things. Because I've had a lot of trauma. It's crazy. So having those little pockets of time where I used to be able to like just enjoy things is kind of where I'm at now, is like going back to that and bringing it back to my present life, and then applying all of that to my future.
Well, let me actually just let me get to Miss. Go ahead, Mr. Best.
Okay, I'm back. Good. Hey man, technology be tripping. You know what I mean? I try to go from my iPhone, and I put my laptop up, and now the laptop had to do an update. Okay, I'm back. Good. So this I think from what she's saying, like, oh man, like dreaming is really just the tool to really being free. Like when we stop dreaming, we stop being free. Like we just automatically are just a part of just the system. We're part of the beast. Like, you know what I mean? And we plugged up into that shit, and we got to just unplug ourselves out of it, because if we don't, then we just continue that cycle. right? We just continue. Okay, I'm gonna work. I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna go to bed. Like, you know what I mean? You watch some TV, and that's about it. I might make a phone call, but that's about it. But it's like, you know what I mean? And then you may connect with people. If there is a social event, you might go, right? But hell, if I'm working that weekend, I'm not going. I'm getting my paper. You know what I'm saying? So like, we fall into this thing, but man, my most greatest times is when I'm dreaming. You know what I mean? When I'm thinking about, you know, things that make me feel like I know that I'm meant for more. Because I feel like, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm always destined to be more than what I'm in. And sometimes I feel like even within the body that I'm in, I'm like, man, like, I'm not saying that I want to like be deleted, but I'm just saying like at times I feel like transcendence is like what I want to do. Cause like I feel like sometimes in my body I'm trapped. Like I feel like I wish I could just be more, you know what I'm saying? Like I wish I could be here and then be here and then be here. And it's like in reality, sometimes you can't. You know what I mean? In reality, you only could be in a few spaces. You can dream about being in other spaces and places, but in reality, you know what I mean? It's going to take time for you to get from one place to another. Then you got to be patient, right? Because maybe you are going to get to that point, but you have to be patient with the journey, right? That patience is what really, really is like, that's when you get challenged, yo, when you got to be patient. Like, I got to be patient through this. Like, oh shit, like, I don't want to be patient. Like, I want this shit to happen right now, right? And since y'all being transparent about your lives, I wasn't trying to be transparent. I was trying to just, you know, have a stream and we get up out of here and I was gonna go to bed. And I'm joking. I'm totally joking. I was thinking to myself the other day, and I think I told this to one of my, matter of fact, I did tell it to somebody. So Vic, shout out to you, Vic. You already know what it is. And I think I told this to my man Vaughn Eric too. But I was saying, and I told my sister this too. I was saying, like, I feel like I always got to carry everything on my own. Like, everything got to be carried by me, like, all the time. Like, it's just nonstop. Like, it's like I just can never rely on things or people that's actually supposed to be there, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's like you wait for the bus, and the bus is like, nah, you need to walk. It's like, no, I'm waiting for the bus to take me to where I need to go. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. I'm paying for the service. Take me where I need to go. And it's like I'm always waiting for my bus to come, and it's just never coming. So I have to just make a way, right? I gotta, you know, I'm waiting for a car to be invented, and there's no car coming, so there's no taxi coming. So I gotta make me a taxi, or I gotta make this, or I gotta make that. So it's I always feel like I have to make a way, and I feel like every time that I've needed someone, like the ball has always been dropped. You know what I mean? And you know, for some reason, you know, or the other. You know what I mean? I've been able to be enough for myself. So all those things I ever needed people to be, I already had inside myself. But it's like it's still taxing on you, right? You still have emotions. You still feel shit about it. Doesn't mean that it go away. You know what I mean? Because that trauma and all that stuff that you feel, having to carry all that stuff, it sticks with you. You know what I mean? Even though you are delighted and you're happy and you're ecstatic that you made it through these things, right? It still weighs on you. You know what I mean? It's still like, damn, like, can I just get somebody just to say, yo, I appreciate you, or just give you a hug, and just not have no type of like you're not expecting nothing from me. You know what I mean? There's no type of strings attached. It's not like you saying this because you want something from me or you're asking of me or something. Like you just genuinely want to be around me because you just want to be around me and you just love who I am. You know what I mean? One of the people that really does that for me a lot is Lady Phoenix. Lady Phoenix, I see you in the comments. Thank you for always being that for me. You know what I mean? I definitely appreciate you. You know what I mean? As like an older aunt, mother type, like you always encourage me to continue to be at my best. And she's like a mother or like an aunt like I never had, because she always encouraging me. 84, you can do it. You got something, boy. You can do this. I know you can do this. You mean something. People listening to you. And I'm like, oh man, like I don't know how many people's listening. Like, well, look at my analytics. You don't be showing all these people listening, but it's like what she's saying is bigger than what people than my analytics. She's saying something bigger than just people actually listening. She's saying me being who I am means something more than just the numbers and just what I think it should mean, or just in a small mind frame of what people think it should mean. It doesn't matter if it's 100 people watching 1,000 or just 4 or just 2 or just 8. You know what I mean? Me expressing and me being me is enough, and who I am is enough. So, yeah, just want to share that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think that's absolutely beautiful, man. And it's definitely like a good reminder because, hey, even the haters, man, they're listening, and you know, someone is getting inspired. As long as we're really talking about something that is actually constructive and not destructive, we're going to continue to grow and build as a unit. So it could be 2 people that's watching, it could be 5 or 10 people, but someone is listening. And the good thing about social media, especially like YouTube, is that there's always opportunity for replay value. So if they miss a live stream for tonight, hey, catch the replay and just continue to listen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
One of the things that like helped me, like, because it helped me realize with like the numbers and stuff like that, because you know, with social media, and especially with TikTok nowadays, it's all about the numbers, right? I would look at the people watching my story, right? So if I didn't have too many likes on a post, but I had over like 100 people looking at my story, I'm like, oh, y'all are paying attention. You know what I'm saying? It's not like about what I'm putting out or what my content is. You guys really do be watching. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be like, follow, share. And then with that kind of made me like stop. I mean, I still want that, don't get me wrong. But then I looked at the numbers for a post and then compared to my story. And I'm like, yeah, y'all be watching and checking for it. Like, you know, it's fine. Like, you may not say anything. You might not give a reaction to it or whatever. But obviously, you guys are paying attention.
Facts. That's the same thing with fear. Like, we may not have like, it may be a night where it seems like it's very slow, but then you'll be surprised, especially after when the video gets uploaded, and then the numbers start going up. And oftentimes, I may not get the comments that I desire to have to help build an algorithm up in YouTube, but I have people approaching me like in, you know, outside of social media, having 1v1 conversations or text messages. And a lot of these people, they'll give their input and they'll say, hey, I really enjoyed like the content that you made. It was very thought-provoking. I was inspired. I have people from church that will say, hey, I like your content. And you'll be surprised. I'm like as sometimes Ratchet we could get like you watching our stuff. I'm like, but go figure. People are watching, you just never know who is like really listening. But again, it's really about like just like, you know, content value to the ones who have took the time to really tune in to actually learn something from it. And I'm okay if you don't want to comment, that's fine. Not a lot of people are assertive enough to maybe type in something or type their opinion. And that's kind of like one of the reasons why, like, you know, we kind of started this podcast anyways, because there's a lot of people that have a lot of thoughts that they want to get out, but they're not comfortable to share their thoughts. So sometimes it requires people like us to pretty much speak up for the people.
So like essentially what I was saying is that it's just a need to feel love, man. To be loved and to feel love. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's essentially what it is. Like, forget all the YouTube stuff, forget my career, forget everything else. Like, it's just a need to be loved and heard. Like that's essentially what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? I like how she does that finger snap thing. But that's essentially what I'm talking to. Like, you know what I mean? So I got a question. So, Sister Bonita, so like, as you're writing this poetry and you are basically putting yourself out there, like how has this helped with you to really deal with like the traumas and the things that have affected you and the things that, you know what I mean, that has, you know, been going on in your life. Because like when I do this, like this helps me to kind of like, you know, express myself and say the things I want to say. And I just want, you know, and even when I'm passionate about it, I don't want people to think like I'm angry or that I'm mad or whatever. I'm not angry. Well, sometimes I'm angry, man. All right, but I'm not. It's not. It's the fact that like I really just want to just say the things that need to be said, and I want, you know, I want it to be heard. So, how, you know, with your poetry and the things that you're using, how has it helped, you know, with the trauma, and how has it helped for you to just process it and talk about it?
For me, I feel like poetry, really anything you write, is a form of shadow work, right? So it has helped me like dig deeper into my feelings. And when you're digging deeper into your feelings or processing your day, life, whatever you want to call it, it kind of gives you a clearer picture, right? And I feel like it kind of gives you like a script for behind the scenes. Like it kind of like it shows you the people who played a part in your life or in your trauma, right? Because a lot of times we blame ourselves, like how you were talking about. You feel like everything is on your shoulders, right? And that's the number one things I've felt all throughout my life, even as a child. And now with writing about my experiences or experiences with my family or my parents, it kind of even though I'm writing it now more as an adult because I am more comfortable to do so, it has reminded me like, wait a second, I was the kid. Y'all were supposed to handle your business and you didn't. So why am I carrying not just the burden I put on myself, but also y'all's burden? So it's helped me to give me my voice back. Like I said, like I'm outspoken, but I only did it with like-minded individuals. So it's helped me remind me of my voice and has shown me that I don't have to have a voice just in certain spaces. I can have it in all spaces. And that it's shown me the people who kind of stifled my voice or tried to silence me. And then when I read that or look at that or kind of evaluate that and self-reflect, I'm just like, wait a minute. Why am I allowing this person to like shut me up when they didn't have their shit together either? So why am I carrying all this burden and why am I silencing myself while they didn't have their shit together, but they get to run around and do whatever they want to do? So it's helped me take my power back, I guess, in more simple terms.
Man, yeah, exactly. Like, and that's what I've been doing too. Like, I just been like, hold on, like, I'm dope. Like, like they did whatever they did, but I'm still great. Like, it is what it is. Like, and it's like, and that's what I always key in on. And then on top of that, like, you know what I mean? You know, it really plays itself out in your life when you just like really have that mindset that like, all right, like I'm still good and I'm still a great person, even though this person has done all this stuff and they haven't been there the way they need to be there. Like, man, I still, you know, I'm still wonderful and I still made it out of that and I made something of myself and I did something great. You know what I mean? And I'm still here, you know what I mean? I'm still alive and happy and thriving. Like, that's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I think that overall, like, you know, creating our own, establishing and creating our definition of ourselves is what's key. You know what I mean? Because everything is trying to define you, right? Your past, your traumas, even you know, your present and your future, everything's trying to define you. Other people, you know what I mean? Your job or wherever else, you know what I mean? Everything's trying to define who we are. But when we break out that box and say, nah, this is who I am, and I stand on that, that's when we really find true freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, facts. I totally agree. And like for people who aren't writers or aren't poets and stuff like that, like if they are feeling some type of way or they feel like they can't get out of whatever they're feeling, I'm like, have you tried writing about it? Like I know I'm biased because I'm a writer, but have you tried writing about it? Because when you're writing about it, yes, you have those like surface thoughts that you ask yourself or you write about, but then like I don't know, it's a feeling I can't really describe. Like something else comes out of you, and you surprise yourself, You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say someone pissed you off because they cut you off on the freeway, and you're just like, yeah, this asshole cut me off, like, F him, and blah, 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 blah. I feel like with writing, yeah, you write that part, but it also makes you see, like, makes you kind of dig deeper and be like, okay, so yeah, they cut you off, but this isn't the first time you felt this way. This anger isn't new. You know, have you felt this before? Yes. Well, when did you feel this before? Oh, I felt it when blah, 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 blah. And who made you feel this way? It could be an ex, a friend, or it could be your parents and stuff like that. And then it's kind of like that aha moment, like, oh, crap, shit. Like, this is the thing that kind of triggers me. This is the thing that kind of sets me off. And you don't realize why, because we're not going to remember everything. You know, we store things for sure, but we don't remember exactly why and when and where certain things like hit us, because we're constantly going, like, as humans, we're going through life, we're going through changes, we're going through things, and we adapt to whatever environment we're in, whether it's new, old, or whatever. And we're just adapting to those things, and we kind of suppress a lot of things. And I feel like with writing, it brings kind of all of that up, especially if you stick to it.
Yeah, and that's the best. Those are the best therapists, the ones that, you know, they make you get to the root, like, you know what I'm saying. And then when you're able to be therapeutic within yourself, you get to the root of what's really, you know, happening. Like, okay, oh, this is why I feel this way. Okay, this is why I don't trust people. Okay, this is why I do trust people. You know what I mean? These are my triggers, and these are the things that I feel, and these are the things that I can reference and I can go back to. You know what I mean? But sometimes we're muddling through so many different things, right? Bills, you know, family, and all those other things, that it's just kind of hard. You know what I mean? Watching the game. So yeah, I do watch a lot of sports. So sometimes I get into the mode. I'm just watching all these sports, and I just be forgetting about the regular life. But we doing all this other stuff, right? That's like kind of taking our attention away from really dealing with the root of what's going on. And at times in my life, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I use these things to just escape. You know what I mean? It was a part of escapism. You know what I'm saying? So that was also a big part of it. And you know, just having an outlet, you know, the way you have it, where there's poetry, and then us having an outlet here on social media, I think that's definitely key. So yeah.
You know, this ties into like a question I was going to ask earlier. So I guess I'll just ask this now. If you could like name a moment, right, where you was like the most happiest woman, like if you can remember maybe the year, the place, or sometimes a certain type of dream, but what was like the most happiest moment of your life? Like before the trauma, before the drama.
The happiest moment of my life, I would say, from what I remember, I have like a happy memory that kind of ties into that a little bit.
Okay.
Me and my family were dysfunctional. We're always talking shit to each other. We're always talking shit about each other to each other's faces. You know, the way my mom was, she would cuss us out on a daily basis. That was her love language, right? So it was me and like my family from Southern California. We spent our summers together. We would switch off. And there was this one summer, like all of us cousins, we did not want to see each other. We didn't want to spend our summers together. And our parents were like, you're going to do this. And so they made us like go to San Francisco at like 5:00 in the morning, and we were complaining. We basically took an oath and a stand with each other. Like, are y'all ready to get your ass beat? Because we're going to stand our ground. We're finally going to stand our ground against our parents. Like, we don't care if we get our asses whooped, whatever the case may be, right? And we were complaining the whole time. So like from Pasadena where I live to like up north or whatever, it's like a 6-hour drive. So we were ready, and it's close range. You know, my parents could have just reached over the back of the seat and just popped us in the face. But we were ready to like go. They didn't do anything. We're like, what the heck? But we just kept complaining. We finally get to my cousin's house or my aunt's house, and they're like, okay, like get some sleep. You guys got to get up at like 4 a.m. And we complained again because we're like, it's the first day of summer. Why we got to complain? Why we got to complain? I mean, why we got to get up? And we were just complaining. Still did not get popped. We wake up and they're like, okay, we got another 3-hour drive to San Francisco. Again, complaining. Still nothing. And they wouldn't tell us what we were doing. They weren't telling us where we were going. And we reach up to these like horseback riding stables. And horseback riding was a huge thing in my family. And again, so we complained. We're like, what? We do this every summer. Why we got to do this again? This is bullshit. We were cussing and everything. And we still did not get popped. And we're just like, and so we're looking at each other like, damn, like, so they must have caught on to our game. Like, we're going to get it after we're not in front of company or like what in front of all these like white people or whatever. Like, we're about to get our asses beat. But we would not let go. So we went horseback riding, and there's like us like teenage kids and the little kids, and we're just like, yeah, this is whatever. And then we get taken to like a private beach, and we're like, yo, what is this? But of course we were being stubborn, like we're not going to admit to our parents like this is it. So they say you guys can ride along on the beach by yourself, like you don't have to have a trainer or nothing. And we're looking at the little kids and like looking at our parents, because usually we have to take the little kids with us, and they're like, nah, we got them, don't even worry about it. So we rode along, we were being stupid. We even rode like the horses in the water, like just being free. It was amazing being free, especially with complaining and talking shit to our parents, because we should be black and blue, but that never happened. You know what I'm saying? So then finally it was said and done. We retired, and they're like, we're going to have a barbecue. We're like, we don't want, again, you would think we would be grateful. No, we kept complaining. So we were all tired. We get to this beach. There was no one there. We couldn't even do the barbecue, and we all passed out. And you can hear the waves crashing. My parents were passed out, and there was this little old Mexican man just playing the guitar that just went right with the waves and the beach and everything. It was like the perfect moment, the perfect melody. Just everything was just hitting perfectly that whole day, even with us bitching and complaining. And so we wake up the next day, and I'm like, hey, yo, did anyone hear that guitar with the little old man in the back? And like everybody was silent and looking at me crazy. And I was like, I know I did not dream that. Like that actually happened. And then my aunt's like, no, I heard it. And so we were just talking about how amazing the day was. And then our parents did get on us for complaining. They're like, y'all, we're talking all that shit, and look what we did for you and stuff like that. But they were like, are you happy now? Like, we don't want to hear shit when you're on the way back home. You know, things like that. And that right there was like that summer from then on was like the perfect summer. And then like that whole entire day was perfect because it was real. It was authentic. And then there was like a surprise at the same time. So that memory and that time period, I think it was like when I was right before I went into like high school. So like set the tone for like my high school years and like the vibe for my high school years, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, that
story was
dope.
Yo, that story was dope. Yo, like, oh my gosh, that story was incredible.
Boundaries, right? Man.
All right, so I would say, and for me to answer your question 2 and 3, you know, just to answer it as well. I'm not gonna be able to top that shit, so don't even. If y'all listening, I'm not topping that shit. All right, my greatest, my happiest times from my life were from, and I thought about this today. It's crazy that you asked this question because I thought about this today. It was from 88 to 92. Okay. So 1988 to 1992, and 88 is when I had moved from one part of New York to another, and I started to remember things, like my memory and who I was started to come in. Because before that, like I was a little kid, so my memories were just like kind of I was like a toddler, so my memories were, some of them are vivid. Like I remember one memory where we're coming out of a housing apartment in the projects before we moved, and it was snowing really hard, and my mom had put me in this onesie, right? And the reason why I remember the onesie is because it was so like snug, like you can't, like in a onesie, like if you in that motherfucker, you really in there, like you can't get out of it, right? And she was stuffing my little ass in that onesie, and I was in the onesie and I was moving, you know what I'm saying, through that snow, through the projects, but you know what I mean? Like I was moving. Then there's another one, there's a few other ones, like when I'm riding my big wheel throughout the projects, through like this bridge. There's like other spotted memories that I have, like, but they're not vivid. I would say when 88 came, my mind became more vivid because that's when we moved and like we was in this house, and now it was like being in this house now, like my memory started like to come in, like consistent. And I can remember when we moved there. I can remember how I felt when we moved there. It felt like a new beginning. You know what I'm saying? I can just remember all of that. You know what I mean? I think like I was like 4.5, 5. I can remember like my grandmother like fixing me certain foods. I can remember watching certain shows, like, you know what I mean? I can remember shows coming on like Family Matters and watching cartoons, and you know what I mean? Like these little things just started to pick up in my mind and my memory. Fresh Prince coming out, you know what I'm saying? You know, having a Super Soaker, you know what I mean? Like all these things just started kicking in my mind. The Dream Team, you know what I mean? Playing on TV and me watching it, me watching Jordan for the first time. Like all these things started to kick in, you know what I'm saying, from that time period. And that time period was like, it was like heaven for me because it was like my grandparents was there and my mom was there and like my uncle was there. And these are the people in my life that mean the most to me. You know what I'm saying? And I try to tell them as much as I can. I know I need to call y'all more. I need to tell y'all more. I know, I'm sorry. All right, so, but this is kind of before, like, we had like a lot of like dysfunction and just a lot of problems and shit like that. Like, this time frame was just like incredible. Like, it was just fun, and I was able to be a kid, and I had the little Flintstone vitamins, and I had my little lunch packed, and you know what I mean? I'm watching Ninja Turtles and shit. Like I'm coming home from school, and you know I'm watching like you know, Woody Woodpecker and things of that nature. And Saturday mornings, Mighty Mouse is coming on, and after that, wrestling comes on. Like these are all the memories that like throughout that time frame. If I could bottle it up, and they ask like, what would heaven be for you if I transcend, like, and I go to that time frame and I live that out every single day, that'll be heaven for me. You know what I mean? I know that heaven is this other thing that we call, you know, we base it on religion and, you know, who's a God or whatever. But for me, that was heaven. You know what I mean? Because in that time frame, like before trying to fit in and be cool in high school, before, you know, middle school, and middle school was cool too, but before a lot of stuff that was happening in middle school and me transitioning, that time frame was incredible. Like it was just, it was heaven. Like, you know what I mean? The summertime, the big old Italian ices, the little summer day trips with the kids. And, like, yo, it was incredible. Like, it was incredible, man. And the music and the soundtrack to my life back then was just as great. Like, you know what I mean? You know, Adventures of Slick Rick came out during that time. You know what I'm saying? Tribe Called Quest, you know what I mean? I'm going to throw that out there because Bonita's here. You know what I mean? Bonita album came out, you know what I'm saying? And all this music was just a soundtrack to my childhood, and it made me feel alive. It made me feel like love. You know what I'm saying? It made me feel like just like, yo, like, man, like this is what life is about. You know what I mean? And like I said, my family was a lot more together back then. You know what I mean? We would have cookouts. We would have like yo, I feel like that was the most time I ever spent with my family ever. Like, like I was always like extended family, regular family, like, you know what I mean? This was before cell phones. This when they had the little beepers and all that. Like, yo, just life was different, man. Going downtown was an event. You know what I'm saying? Going over your cousin's house was an event. You know what I mean? Your auntie, grandma, and that was a motherfucking event. You know what I'm saying? And I miss that shit, man. Like, I traded all my accessories, all my technology, everything, just to go back to that. I even, like, yo, if they told me, like, yo, we'll erase your memory and you'll be a kid again, and you'll start back from there, and we'll let you be from 88 to 92, I'll choose it right now. I wouldn't even think about it. I'll tell everybody bye. Like, I'll see y'all later. Where you going? Like, okay, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? And I'm going back to that time because that was the best time of my life, yo, for real.
Wow, that's deep. Well, here's the thing. So I have a lot of fond memories that I could share. And it was hard, right? Because I want to share two at least. The first one, and I'll make this one short. I remember a time it was coming close to Christmas. So 7 days away from Christmas, 1991 or 92, the Sega Genesis system came out. And my dad let me play the Sonic the Hedgehog game. Now, as a kid, I was like, yo, this is the coolest game. I get to run and jump on bad guys and all that. But he said he ran the game out, as so he told me. And so I was like, dang, man, I was just things and stuff man, I wish I could play this game again. And so, because he let me just play it just one time, and that was it. Now, at the time, we had this huge big box TV. Everything was so super heavy, weighing 300 pounds and all. But there was a sheet that was behind it. And I wanted to uncover the sheet, and I was wondering why the sheet is behind the TV. My mom told me it was hey, there's a leak on the ceiling, and this is why we had to put the sheet so the TV won't get electrocuted. I was naive. I was like, okay, sure. I don't want to, uncover something and then something happens and it'll be my fault. So when they told me don't touch it, hey, I just didn't touch it. And probably at that time, I would jump on top of the TV, walk on top or whatever. I'll still see that little sheet, but I never touched it. Until that day, it was Christmas. And my dad told me, hey, I got something for you, but you can open the sheet now. So I was like, it felt kind of weird. I was like, oh, okay. I opened the sheet. The Sonic the Hedgehog game and the Sega Genesis was underneath the sheet the whole time. The whole time. And mind you, if I had opened the sheet, I would have been playing that game. Look, even if I got a whooping or chastised, it would have been worth it at that moment. But it made it better because I was like, wow, I would have never thought or registered in my mind that there was something that was behind it. Hey, I mean, they played me good, but in a good way. The second memory I was saying that I'll never forget is when life was all about hey, just people coming over to the house, having a good time. Sometimes, and this kind of goes into my early years in life or whatever as a single. Well, at the time when I was single, I had just friends that would just come to my mom's house. Mr. Best, he been to my mom's house before. And, people would just come and just be like, hey, man, I just want to kick it. I just want to do some music with you. Because I was always heavy with the music stuff, with the art. So I had the microphone equipment, little studio setup. And people just come over, they'll rap, they'll write lyrics. And I feel like at that moment in time, I didn't need video games to fill a void. I didn't need the external things to distract my mind. It was about friendships and family that made it worth it. Speaking of family, I gotta give a shout out to Big Rig Slaps because he's in the building. Salute, my brother. Thank you for tuning in.
Big Rig, what up, baby? Make sure y'all watch EazilyRigged too, man, on Tuesdays. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, check it out, man. Check it out.
Yeah, catch these boys on the late night. So those were memories that if I could go back and if I had the opportunity to even make it better, I definitely would. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't want to change anything. I would just want to relive it. And that's where I feel like when we dream, but we have those dreams that bring us into that past time frame, those are the best dreams. You know, I'm not saying that you ever want to not wake up and not be alive, but those are the type of dreams that you wish that that alarm clock did not ring. You probably wish that you didn't have to go to work that day and get up early, because I'm telling you, sometimes those dreams, man, they be on hit. And when you finally get to that point where like the suspense is about to happen and it's about to reveal itself, and you wake up, you're just like, oh my gosh, why? So thank God for that.
Appreciate you too, bro. Appreciate you too, Big Ray.
Yeah. So look, I'm sorry, go ahead, Bonita. Oh. I was gonna say, like, real brief. I know we're above the 1 hour mark. I was gonna ask, since you are a poet, if you had anything that you would like to share, like some spoken word, feel free to do so.
Or if you got any questions for us too, what I'm saying? We'll answer any questions.
Since we were the topic is knowledge and relationships, I was going to ask your guys' point of view on this whole Jada Pinkett situation.
No comment. No comment. I'm joking.
All right, hold on.
I'm just curious. I'm so curious because, like, first of all, she needs to stop bringing up my boy Tupac. Like, stop it. Leave it alone. Let the man rest in peace. They're already over here bringing up his murder, yada, 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 yada. Like, leave him alone. But that was, so far, my only question, to be honest with you.
Yeah, leave Mr. Machiavelli alone, you know what I'm saying? Leave him alone. I'm with you, you know what I'm saying? I'll say this, right? When it comes to Hollyweird, right? And salute to my man on Instagram exposing Hollyweird. I always watch your stuff, brother. Salute to you.
Me too.
Oh, you watch that too? Oh, we're gonna talk about that. So, and he be going in too. And I'm like, oh shit, that is true. So look, when we look at people in Hollywood or Hollyweird, right? Like, you cannot take these people seriously because, like, you really never know what's really going on behind the scenes, right? You just know what they want to put out there. And the only reason she really doing this press run is because she's trying to sell a book. And I found that out today. I didn't even know the book was about to come out. I didn't even know she was trying to sell a book, but I knew something was up. And I'm like, why am I seeing her everywhere? Like, she's talking to this person and that person and that person. Like, why am I seeing her everywhere? Then I seen like she got a book coming out. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's why she's doing all this. It's all about the book, y'all. Okay? Do not take this woman seriously. Really don't take anybody in Hollywood seriously, all right? It's about the money, okay? It's about the book. You know what I mean? This is why she's doing all this, to sell her book. And you know what's the funny thing about it? Is that if she just released the book, people were going to buy it anyway. She didn't even have to even do all this. Like, this is just unnecessary. You know what I mean? But people are so hungry and thirsty and greedy for money that they would do anything just to sell you stuff. I'm not buying that shit, all right? So she can release 15 books talking about Will and Independence Day and whatever else you want to talk about, or the Fresh Prince, whatever you want to talk about, before he was the Fresh Prince, after that, whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever she want to talk about, her kids, Jaden, whoever, Willa, whoever. I don't care about that. Even if she talk about Pop, I don't care about none of this woman got to say. I don't watch none of her stuff. I don't watch Red Table Talk. I don't watch none of that. The only Red Table Talk I ever watched because Will Smith was on there. That was it. Everything else she can keep. Her mama, and everything else, they can all keep that shit. Like, I don't care about none of that. So, at the end of the day, I just think it's just for press. Like, just for her to sell her book. I don't take none she says seriously. And, you know, at the end of the day, she will use her family. She will use somebody deceased. She will use anybody. She'd use us if she could for her to push the narrative. And that's what it's always been about her. The Chris Rock situation has always been about her. Everything's always about her. It always reflects back to her. It's never about anybody else. You know what I mean? And you know what's funny too? She always references somebody who is always at a different level than she is. Like, they're always on like a higher level where people look at them in high esteem. You know what I'm saying? She always try to like clout chase or try to use like their stature for her to get herself in a certain space. She's a leech. You know what I mean? She's a leech. She only has made, I don't know how many movies she made. The only movie I ever liked that she was in was Low Down Dirty Shame. That's the only movie that I ever liked. She can keep all the rest of that shit. Because all the rest of that stuff to me that she ever did, even when she was in a different world, she was all right. But I wasn't on there for her. I was watching Whitley and my man, my other dude, the dude with the glasses and all that. You know what I'm saying? The dark-skinned cat who was with her. You know what I mean? Ron. That's what I was watching it for. The chef that was funny. You know what I mean? The corporal, the marshal who would come in and be hard on the kids. I was watching it for that Sinbad when he was on the show. I ain't caring nothing about no Jada Pinkett. And then the only time I cared when she was on there is when Tupac was on there. That's the only time I cared when he came on a different role. Like, oh, snap, Pac on here. But it's just, nobody cares. The only people that care is people that ain't got nothing else to do. That's all I got to say.
Look, man, the reality is that nobody really cares about Jada Pinkett Smith. And to be honest with you, she's partially irrelevant. The only reason why she's hanging on by a thread is because of her marriage with Will Smith. The reality is that she's not known as Jada Pinkett Smith, the greatest actress in the world in Hollywood. She's known as Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith's wife, estranged wife, you know? And the whole Pac thing, I mean, look, she would have made her sales anyway, but I understand that you had to try to get some type of publicity or some type of clout to even put yourself on notice. But as you can see, she doesn't really have that level of class, right, to really do the way how Will promoted his book. See, I'm doing comparisons right now because the world needs to hear this. Will Smith is pretty much better than her, and she don't like that, and she's resentful about that. So he comes out with a book. She gotta come out with a book. The way how Will Smith promoted his book, he don't have to talk about his marriage with Jada. He don't have to talk about Jada, period, because he's not gonna get anywhere talking about his wife. All Will Smith had to do is just put up his little YouTube channel, do some type of silly, goofy gimmicks or whatever, and people are going to buy into that. Share a little bit about your life, which one of the things I'll say about Will is that he only will give you enough that he wants you to believe in, but he's not going to give you the whole truth. And that's the same thing with Jada Pinkett Smith. When people were shocked about, oh, they were separated for since 2016, you're making this to be like it's a new thing. Dude, they said that already in the Red Table Talk. But as you can see, a lot of people was not listening, or maybe they just did not want to believe that they was literally separated. That Will Smith probably did give his blessing to August Alsina or whatever. But all this is to pretty much pay notice and attention to whatever sales that needs to be made. By the end of the day, remember, they are actors or whatever. They are a part of the entertainment industry. So they are providing some type of entertainment for our thoughts. So the whole entanglement and Jada's so-called love affair with Tupac or whatever, which I think that's pretty much cap. You know, the dead man should pretty much let the man rest. But if you feel like you got to use the ghost of Pac, right, to pretty much resurrect some type of relevancy, then if that's what rocks your boat, go ahead and do that. But by the end of the day, you know, we know that if she was to ever leave Will Smith, which she's not planning to do so, she knows that she will be pretty much in the abyss, and she will be fully irrelevant. So all this talk about what's going on with your life, and you know, Pop was the soulmate, and he was the only person that understood you, and he knew how to put it down. You know, I mean, honestly, man, like if you gotta stoop that low, hey man, it really speaks high volumes about your own personalized character. And no, I will not get the book because I'm not that interested in what Jada has to offer in the life that she construct. So we'll digress from there.
What's so crazy is, one, this just proves that the ego is a hell of a drug. Money cannot buy you happiness, right? Because if she really wanted to make money and get clout, all she had to do was really talk about that Oscar slap. She could have came up with the story, like she's coming up with stories now that aren't true, and talk about that Oscar slap and how she felt, because everybody was defending her. Everybody was defending her. And the other thing that bugs me, no matter what her relationship is with her husband, estranged husband, or whatever the case may be, this is the father of your children. And he stood up for you whether you were separated or not on one of the biggest, most important nights of his career to have your back. And here's an opportunity for you to have his back. But instead, you choose your ego and money to bash him some more like you've been doing for years. And you're talking about a man who's been dead for what 27 years or something like that? I don't know what.
Something like that.
And it also shows you, like, and for my women, I love y'all, don't get me wrong, but it really shows you how a narcissistic woman can be, which I don't feel is talked about. Yes, we have our men, and I've had my handful of them, don't get me wrong. That's a whole nother topic, because I could really go into that. But this right here really shows how a narcissistic woman can be, and how it doesn't matter what you do for a narcissist in general, they're always going to choose themselves. Because this man, even with his statement, he has not bashed her. He's like, hey, she's going to say what she wants to say, and I support her. And you can't even give out one little tiny little statement doing the exact same thing. And I'm not talking about as your husband, the father of your children, the father of your children. And you continuously bash him and embarrass him all over the world, social media, whatever you want to call it. And you can't say one nice thing about him. One nice thing, because I have yet to hear any nice things about him.
Wow.
I'm gonna say this real quick. Unfortunately, if Will Smith did want, like, if he had like a lot to really say, and I'm for sure he probably, if it was his choice and he didn't want to, he didn't care about his image or whatever, I'm for sure he probably would have a lot to say about Jada. But at the same time, unfortunately, especially in society and the entertainment industry, a lot of men, and I was even trying to go there with this, but I want to just flat out say this: a lot of men don't really have the freedom to say what they need to really say about their wives, not shutting the hell up, not talking about their business and stuff without getting crucified, ridiculed, looking at as weak or soft or whatever. Because if Will Smith clapped back at Jada, most men and women are going to look at him and be like, hey, man, like, stop being a pussy or whatever, right? Grow up, be a man. Just take it to the chin and move on, or you're being a crybaby about it. So, unfortunately, in this situation, like, he has to kind of like eat these words. He has to kind of like just endure wherever the comments say. I mean, he could mute it, limit the comments or wherever, and that's what he's been doing. But he don't have that luxury to really like talk about Jada and his family like that without being heavily criticized.
But here's the thing, family, right? Okay, y'all ever watch some videos where like there'll be the guy pulling the prank, he's trying to give like a girl his number, even though she's with like her boyfriend or her lover or whatever else, right? Now, the one thing I always do, I always pay attention to the one thing that the biggest elephant in the room that nobody pays attention to. I always pay attention to the woman's reaction, right? Because here's the thing. If you're with a woman, she's yours, right? Or she claims to be yours, and another man comes up to her and tries to give her, their number, right? She should automatically reject this man. You shouldn't. You don't have to say no words. You should say no, thank you. I'm taken. You know what I mean? Have a blessed day. You know what I mean? And then y'all go about grocery shopping or in the mall or wherever you're at. Know what I mean? But a lot of time you dudes, just like Will Smith, unfortunately, you jump out the window. Okay? Stop jumping out the motherfucking window. All right? Watch the behavior of these women. Okay? Because sometimes you're jumping out the window for somebody who ain't even gonna open a window for you. Like they ain't even gonna reach to open it. Like you could be hot as hell in Hell's Kitchen and they're not opening nothing. You know what I mean? Salute to Miss D Vinyl Bless. Good to see you, sister. But yes, like stop doing that, man. Like this is a lesson for men. Stop jumping out the window for these women who ain't gonna do that for you. She ain't gonna even bring you can be in hell. She ain't gonna bring you a glass of water. I'm telling you. You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna happen. You know what I mean? So yeah, I always watch the women's reaction to these videos. Like, oh wow, okay, this dude's trying to give her the number. I wonder how she's gonna respond. Right? I wonder if she's gonna just say no. I remember this one time the dude jumped out the window for the woman, and she still took the guy who was pranking her. She still took his number. She still took the guy's number on camera with kids. Took his number anyway. And I said, ain't this a shame? I said, this guy done jumped out the window. This lady still took the number of the other guy. Crazy. Mute a big dog.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. You know, unfortunately, man, like, you know, it's about who we choose and who we let tolerate. You know, recently, there was a Indian guy, and unfortunately, he took us this black woman on a date, and they both went viral, and he took her to the Cheesecake Factory. I don't know if you guys, you know, heard about that story or whatever, but she posted on social media, on live, and was like, hey, you know, can you believe this guy? He's taking me out to the Cheesecake Factory. Look at me. I'm beautiful. Tall, beautiful, whatever. Like, I deserve to go somewhere else. And there's a point that I'm getting to the story, but to fast forward, the guy was respectful, but he told her like it was. He was like, hey, I wanted to take you out to the Aria, which was a way, like, was one of those upscale type of restaurants, but I'm not knocking Cheesecake Factory, you know, because to me, in my eyes, I mean, Cheesecake Factory is, you know, they have a large variety, but I want to take a woman out of Cheesecake Factory on the first date. That's just me, you know what I mean? But he still took her out to somewhere nice after when the woman was 1 hour late getting out of the house. Yes. Her excuse was, well, traffic, I was late, coming home from work, this, and that, which it pretty much interrupted his scheduling to his reservations to take her to the Aria. But yet Cheesecake Factory wasn't good enough for her. So she felt the need to try to humiliate him on social media. He took it like a G, but he was also expressive. Now, the caveat to it is that the guy, even though his dialect is not really the best as far as speaking well in English, but the guy was able to articulate his thoughts and his emotions. And he told her, well, if this wasn't good enough for you, then this is not going to work out, and maybe I need to take you home. And you know what? I'm going to take you home now. The woman was flabbergasted. She was like, really? Like, you're really going to take me home? And she seemed like she was about to cry. That at that moment of time, right? I know it was weird. For you know, I wouldn't be surprised if all this was like a skit to try to, like, you know, promote something or try to get clout. But anyways, at that particular moment of time, she seen the guy was willing to respect himself. And then that's where the accountability hit. Because a lot of people like Jada or whatever, right? If no one's holding you accountable, and you have a lot of men that just give you the okay to run over them, like Will Smith is allowing Jada to run over him, And look, he might have a plan. He may not even be the simp that a lot of people are thinking right now, but who knows? But again, in comparison, men has to stop letting these type of particular women run over them, because the fault is at both parties. It's not just the woman's fault. It's also the man that's allowing the disrespect to flourish. Like, going back an example of Bonita poetry, when you was talking about like your family, like your parents, you was testing the boundaries, even though they didn't pop you in the face or whatever, and you lived to see another day. The fact that they allowed it, it gave the comfortability to still act up, to still be rude or disrespectful. And that's the thing that for men and for women, you got to learn that, look, the disrespect is not okay. But men, you also have to learn that you need to love yourself enough to check the disrespect when that stuff does happen. So at the end of it, they had an interview. I forgot who the guy was. Like he seemed like he's African American or maybe African or something. But he gave him an interview, and he talked about those type of issues. That, hey, like if you want that person to be traditional, you got to have a pleasant type of attitude. You got to have that traditional attitude where it's like, okay, what can you actually contribute as opposed to just want to take? And real quick, I want to salute to like Marcus and salutes to Mr. Vaughn. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Let me say this, M3, right? Before our sister give her perspective, let me say this, right? Mm-hmm. Listen, at the end of the day, right? Look, for all those women who think that they too good, or I work hard and I'm an independent woman and I come from here and I do this and I do that. Look, man, there's a girl that works at McDonald's, right? Or at Target that looks just as good as you, if not better. She has a better attitude, all right? And she would appreciate this cheesesteak or Cheesecake Factory date, and she's not gonna complain at all. Okay, she's gonna be cool with it. We're gonna go. We're gonna have a great time. She's gonna eat all the bread. Okay, she's gonna get her a drink. Hey, she may even try to pay for the date. You know what I'm saying? I'll pay half. Like, she's gonna be appreciative of what I'm bringing. You know what I mean? And just the mere fact that I'm being a gentleman and I'm asking her, yes, a coffee date. Hey, look, bring back the coffee dates. It's nothing better than you just met this person, right? You want to talk to them. You've been working all week. Just do something simple. Right? Just do a simple coffee date or a simple just, Starbucks meetup or whatever. Hey, look, I know we have a lot of time, but hey, let's meet up at this coffee shop. Let's, we'll have like, this evening to talk or whatever, this afternoon to talk. And then, we'll do a restaurant at a different time. You know what I mean? These things are just easy. Like, make it easy to get to know each other. We know we all got to work. We got all these crazy bills that just be coming out of nowhere and we don't even know where they come from. Hey, we got other responsibilities outside of that. You know what I mean? So we got to keep our papers on our car and everything in a certain way. So, like, let's make it to the point where we're able to socialize and we're not putting all this pressure on ourselves. All right? And we actually are trying to, get to know each other. You know what I mean? So that's what's going to count. Is this person really trying to get to know you? You know what I mean? Or are they just trying to get something from you? Right? If it's a woman, she's just trying to get money. If it's a guy, the guy just trying to get in a woman's pants. So like, yo, what are we getting? What are we doing with each other as far as like when we meet each other, right? And if a person really wants to get to know you, they're going to invest their time, right, as well as their money. So for him to invest his time as well as money really showed that he was trying to get to know this woman, and she messed up the reservation, and now he had to do a secondary. He had to pull a lateral. Now I mean, do something different. So yeah, so y'all go ahead and rock out. That's my take on it.
I do want to say on the flip side of it, since I am a woman too, and because men do the same thing when it comes to women, I would say for both sexes, be careful who you going after. You know what I mean? Just be careful who you going after, because you never know truly who a person is, whether they may have status or they don't have status, because there's a lot of women who are getting caught up going after certain types of men who are getting themselves physically harmed or killed because they feel like this person is the right person for them, or they have the right status, or whatever the case may be. Especially to the flip side of men standing up for themselves. I agree with that 1,000%. When it comes to women, though, like, even if we do stand up for ourselves, like, it's a tricky, dangerous situation. And I feel like that goes back to be careful who you're going after. Things may look nice and shiny and great on social media or whatever they portray or whatever the case may be, but don't let that be your deciding factor, because you don't know what skeletons they have in their closet. You don't know what their agenda is, type situation. And for men too. But, 9 times out of 10, it's a tricky situation for like women. And when I say tricky, it's like dangerous. Like, you could get physically harmed, assaulted in a terrible way, or, just killed. So I think we as a people need to remember not to judge a book by its cover, whether it's a nice cover or not such a great cover, because you never know who's paying attention. You never know who's watching. You don't know if that man who took that old girl to the Cheesecake Factory had $2.5 billion and was testing her to see how she was going to react. You know what I'm saying? To see if this is like
that's a fact.
You know what? And then vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Because like if I was balling like that, even now without being balling, like, I'm going for the character. All right. I like if I can't have a simple conversation with you, you and I should not be dating whatsoever. If you and I cannot just enjoy a meal, no matter what that meal is, McDonald's or filet mignon or whatever you want to call it, you and I should not be dating. You are not the one for me. So really, that girl did that man a favor, really, is what it is. Because if you're going to get upset over Cheesecake Factory, and Cheesecake Factory is good, okay? Like, I don't see what the big deal is. How do I expect to have a relationship with you? As humans, just as humans. We can't just sit down and have a meal on the first date. Okay, third or fourth date, I get it. But we can't just sit down, have a conversation, and have a meal without you tripping. Then no, I shouldn't be with you. Why should I spend my money on you, male or female, if we can't even have a nice meal?
That's a fact. Like, I think people don't think about that. Like basically, what is this person's character? And not only that, are we building something? Like, are we going to try to build something together? Like, you know what I mean? Where do you really see this going? You know what I mean? Can I really try to build a legacy with you if I think that if I'm going out with you, that means that I find something interesting in you, right? And that means that because like, I got to prepare. I got to get dressed. I got to make reservations, or I got to make time for it, right? And I got to just put myself in a situation where I'm actually investing time and energy into you because I care about you, right? And if I didn't care about you, I wouldn't do that. I'll just stay home. You know what I'm saying? And I'll just be doing whatever I got to do. You know what I mean? But the simple fact that people invest their time and their energy, that shows that they care. And I think we get away from that. I think we just think that that's just like, oh yeah, they're just doing that. Just like, no, there's a reason of why somebody's investing their time, right? And then it's also the conversation that we're having when we meet this person. Are you talking about things that are actually tangible, right? Are you talking about, your likes and dislikes? You know what I mean? Your, different things that you've been through. You know what I mean? Your past, you know what I'm saying? Your family, how you view family. Like, are y'all really having real conversations? Or it's just like, oh man, I'm gonna go to this great restaurant, or I'm gonna go to this great place and I'm just gonna enjoy my time, and and that's it. And I'm not really interested in them. I'm just interested in what they can give me. Like, it's just crazy how we do relationships, whether, like you said, men or women. And I would say for the sisters, like, if y'all get any red flags, whether he's trying to pressure you, whether he's trying to guilt trip you, you know what I mean? Whether he's always just talking about sex, whatever it is, like, you get any red flags, don't go. I don't care how much money he got. I don't care how good looking he is. Don't go. And if you're a dude, if you see the red flags, you know what I mean? Don't go. She always just is like, oh, well, do you have enough money to afford me? Or are you the type of man, like, if she on that, you gotta like take care of everything, or she wants you to kind of like take care of her type of feel, and you ain't a ball like that, and she trying to guilt trip you to try to make you feel less than a man, don't go. Like, stop investing your time in these people that's making you feel less than. You know what I mean? Be with somebody that likes you for you. And that was some advice that an OG gave one of my friends, right? She was telling her daughter, she said, You gotta find somebody that likes you as much as you like them, if not more. You know what I'm saying? That's what you gotta do. You're always looking for somebody that you like. No, find somebody that likes you as much as you like them. You know what I mean? Like that's what's gonna matter. Find somebody who wants to build a legacy with you. You know what I mean? Who actually wants to invest in your dreams. That's another thing. Y'all go out on these dates and y'all go out on these events and all that. You get to know these people, but y'all not really trying to invest in them. You know what I mean? Like if you was a guy, you was trying to date Bonita poetry, would you like really invest in her poetry? Would you really help her to get her book started? Would you look at different companies? Would you try to be a resource to her? Or are you just thinking about one thing? And vice versa, if a woman was trying to talk to you, is she trying to invest in you? You know what I mean? She's trying to help you out. Is she trying to get to know who you are and help you build something? Or is it just y'all just going out? Hell, if I just want to just go out, I just go out by myself. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? There's plenty of eateries and stuff. You go out, and you can just meet a random stranger and y'all can have a good conversation. Like, you ain't even got to, y'all wasting time. And that's another thing. Y'all don't invest your time correctly because you think you have more time than you have. And trust me, as I always tell y'all, time is something that you have to take, you know what I mean, seriously. And it's not something you get. And if we knew as much time that we knew the amount of time that we really had here, we would take things a lot more seriously. And I land my plane there.
Right. And speaking of time, I know for me, I'm almost running out of time because I know I shouldn't be sitting down for too long. But Bonita Poetry, as going back, if you have any poems that you would like to share, just let me know before we close out, because we definitely want to hear some of your work.
I definitely do have a piece. It's the Proclamation Emancipation piece. It's this one is part 1. And I think it gives you more of an insight of who I am and as a poet as well. So it goes, Proclamation Emancipation Part 1. While you were watching me, I was also watching you, all of you. While you were taking my kindness for weakness, while you were taking advantage of me, I was taking notes. And I've seen a lot, and I have a lot to say. To the men who followed me home from school, from elementary to high school, I see why you need to make up for the small package between your legs, having to overcompensate for the fact that you don't have many brain cells. But that's zero excuse to become a predator and to terrorize little girls old enough to be your daughter or your granddaughter. You disgust me. You are the definition of scum. To the men who sexually assaulted me, I wouldn't even spit on you if you were on fire. Say hello to my ancestors and spirit guides while they toy with you like you did with me before they hand you off to the devil, your twin, while you burn in hell for eternity. To the lovely females I have encountered, young and old, as I say this with sarcasm, fuck you. Fuck you to the ones who projected their insecurities, your jealousy, your hate onto me, especially to the one who tried to sell me in a child sex trafficking ring. Fuck you to the ones who befriended me by praying for my downfall. Should have used those prayers for yourself, sweetheart, because now karma's at your door. Some of you are dead and gone, and even as a writer, I could never create a death scene so gruesome. And for the ones alive and well, heard you got babies on the way. I would never wish ill will to any child, but unfortunately, karma doesn't work out that way. Speaking of children and karma, for Jonathan Turner, for Sanait Girmay, you two are a bunch of fools. Look at your life now, both handicapped, mad at the world with no one to help you. You two thought your sins had been erased when I came around, making yourself believe I was your reward instead of seeing the lesson, not taking advantage of your second chance. You both continued all of your lies and crimes. You were abused and became the abuser, hurting me, abusing me, made your delusional asses think you had power. And look at you now. You can't even control your own bowels. Got to wear a diaper and call on someone to wipe your own ass. So sad, so pathetic. But thank you for showing me what not to do, who not to be. I share your DNA, but I am so grateful and thankful to be everything you couldn't, someone you wished to be, but lacked the knowledge and comprehension because you were too busy inflicting your pain onto me, onto your other children, and to the rest of my family. Blame me all you want. You and I know who you really are, a bunch of cowards and drug addicts. Hey, Michael, have you overdosed yet? Spread your lies all you want, God and your mother, and sees everything from up above. To my lovers, Hey, baby. I know you enjoyed my time and attention. I know my pussy left a permanent mark. I should really share your DMs you send to me to your wives. I'm sure they feel the same as I do because the sex was never that good. I'm sure they're faking their orgasms like I used to. I should be angry, but I would want someone like me around too. I really don't understand how you call yourself men. To society, the Karens, the coons, pigs, fuck you and your white fragility. For the minorities desperate for the white man's acceptance, I'm sure your ancestors are ashamed. You can kill a revolutionary, but you can never kill the revolution. I remember what you did to Fred Hampton, to the Black Panthers, MLK, Malcolm X. Go out like Bill O'Neill because that's the only way you'll be saved, unless the white man hangs you first. What you didn't account for, the people you killed, the free thinkers, had babies, and we're all grown up now. And we don't plan on doing things in a peaceful way. Hope y'all ready, because things are boiling like a pressure cooker, and I'm not talking about global warming. I'm not the only one who took notes. Be ready for the 400 years of wrath and fury. We're coming for your so-called army, to be continued.
Damn, hell yeah. Now that's the fuck I'm talking about. Salute. Hey man, hit that air horn. Goddamn. All right. Yeah.
Wait. Matter of fact, I'm gonna hear it with this stuff. Now I gotta give the proper disclaimer for YouTube's sake, right? But hey, it is what it is. Like, look, this channel is not about any hatred or whatever YouTube, because YouTube sent me to like I guess like YouTube school or whatever, and I gotta make sure that I've always put the disclaimers out there that whatever viewpoints, right, may not be the necessary viewpoints in knowledge and relationships, but at the same time, we're not promoting anything that's an act of violence, act of hate, or whatever. Everything's about education, and it's also about entertainment purposes as well, too, though. So, especially with that beautiful poetry that she said, yes, she said it a lot, right? Don't take it to offense, YouTube. It's just for entertainment purposes and education purposes only. Thank you. All right. Anyways, that was beautiful. I absolutely love it. Simply stunning. Matter of fact, yeah, I gotta hit you with one of those as well too, though. Like, I wasn't really expecting like a boom like that, but I gotta ask you, okay, what inspired you, right, to write something, and how long did it take for you to like put everything in together? Like, because it flows so majestically, I don't even think I'll be able to put it like in words and in articulation. So please, if you don't mind sharing that.
That one was something I was sitting on for a minute. I want to say like a month or two or so. It's feelings I've always felt, right, with my past experience and stuff like that. But I was hesitant on writing it because I felt like it was a little too vulgar, right? You know what I mean? And it was kind of the opposite of the things that I was writing about. But then, like, I was just like, these are my actual feelings. I'm not the only person who feels this way. I hope that my poetry helps people. And by me not being completely honest in my poetry and with myself, it was a disservice to myself. And not only did I want to write by my experience, I also wanted to shed more light onto the Black woman's experience, because the stuff that I wrote, yeah, there's some stuff that my parents did or whatever the case may be, but also it highlights a lot of things like Black women have experienced even as a child, like grown men hitting on you because you're looked at as a fetish, you know what I mean, because of your body type when you're a child, or what else? men dating you because they see you as an object and not as an actual real person type situation. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to speak out against that, because those experiences that I had, my mother had, my grandmother has had, it's like a trend, you know? And so that what kind of empowered me to write the piece, because I seen the women in my family go through similar situations, and I've talked about it with my friends as well. And I felt like it was something that needed to be shared that isn't talked about.
Damn, like, yo, everything she said, like, in that piece is the shit I always want to say to people that, like, really did, like, some foul shit to me, like, for real. Like, that, like, yo, like, if I could just, like, basically take that piece and put their names in it, you know what I'm saying? And, like, yo, y'all did this, you did that. I remember when I was looking outside and I thought you was coming to pick me up and you never came, like, you know what I mean? And just how you traumatized me and how you beat me up. As like, yo, and then talk about the bullying and all that. Like, if I could really put that in there, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would, like, yo, that's what we really need to be able to do, is to really express, like, the things that have affected us. You know what I'm saying? And just really put that forefront out there. So, sis, like, that was just more than incredible. That was immaculate. You know what I'm saying? And yes, you know, this is why I love reading your stuff. I was reading a piece that you did the other day, and you was, oh my gosh, I forgot what it was about. You was breaking down something. I forget what it was, but
was it the one with the Black Hole Sun song? Like,
okay.
Darkness.
Now the Black Hole Sun joint, I told you, y'all see the message. That is my shit. I love that song. I don't care if y'all take my black card away. That's my fucking song. All right, I love that song. That is my jam. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look it up. Real quick. I'm gonna go on your page. I'm gonna look it up, and I'm gonna tell you which one it is.
Okay. But yeah, have you ever thought, like, okay, of, I don't know, this is like just a crazy thought that I had, but have you ever thought about maybe having like a community where it's like kind of like a poetry type of school for people who may need help with like ghostwriting, or how to become a creative writer, how to like use your thoughts and articulate it into like words where it flows so well that people are able to understand but feel you?
I've thought about it. I feel like it might be something in the future. What
Okay.
I want to do, possibly like soon, is something like pop-up open mics, like with Instagram, but I want to go to different cities and different states. I don't want to be set in like one state, and kind of do things my own way, kind of different from open mics in a way, and kind of give that outlet to other people and not feel like that pressure of having to perform or do a slam-in type situation. Not to sound cocky or anything, but I do feel like I bring something a little bit different to the table with my open mics, because it's not just how I want my open mic. I allow the people that come on to set the tone and the theme for that open mic. Each week we have different conversations where I never thought we would be talking about. So I want to do that, and then maybe dive into like creative writing workshops and stuff like that. I want to feel free, and I want everyone else to feel free, even if I don't like you. I want everyone to feel free and like let go of whatever shackles or what society has been placed on them, because I feel like that's what's a lot of the problems in the world. So if I'm able to make you feel free, even if I don't like mess with you like that, cool, like whatever. Because again, I can't go to jail. I'm tired of trying to fight people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want, and I know how much that helps me. So I want other people to feel that way. So maybe do the pop-up open mics first, and then maybe like creative thing. Anyone who asks me questions or advice, I have no problem talking to them about it, like whatsoever. I'm not going to charge you. You know what I mean? Because I appreciate those who did it for me as well. but maybe down the line for sure.
Okay, for sure. Fair enough.
I found it. Okay,
Yeah.
it's the one called The Artist, right? And it's talking about how people like give you feedback and all that. And I felt that way because like as somebody who creates, you know what I mean, on social media, it's like, man, people can be critical. They can tell you, oh, do it this way, do it that way. I remember like people was like, oh, you need to stream like this person, or you need to do that and that. And it's like, man, I ain't doing none of that shit. Like I'm streaming the way I want to stream. And like when I do my streams, it's going to be the way I want to do, and it's gonna be impactful the way I want to be impactful. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm getting the message out that I want to get out. I'm not trying to do what everybody else is doing. I don't care what anybody else is talking about. I have my own lane, and I have my own vision, and I have my own dreams of how I want this to happen, how I want it to be. So I'm not worried about how anybody else paint on their canvas. I'm worried about how I paint. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I'm not looking at nobody else's canvas. You know, true artists, they focus on their canvas. They're not peeping over. They may be inspired by other people, right? Like some people could be inspiration. But for the most part, when you doing your shit, like you in your mix, like you in your bag, you doing the way you want to do it. So yeah. But I know we got to close. You know what I'm saying? And Bonita, please stick around after we close because there's some things I want to talk to you about. In 3, I'm gonna let you take it away and do your thing. And yeah, man. And listen, y'all, we will be back tomorrow. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back twice tomorrow. I got 2 shows tomorrow. I don't know how I'm gonna pull this shit off, but I'm gonna do it. But I got 2 shows tomorrow. One with the phenomenal Evolution. You know what I mean? Salute to Evolution. Salute to your sister. I know you're working hard and doing what you got to do. So salute to her. And then we're going to be back here tomorrow on KNR itself. All right, we're not going to tell you the topic. Just look out for the thumbnail. All right, y'all going to be entertained. You're going to like it. And you know what I mean? And some of you will love it. So yeah, M3, take it away.
For sure. Before I officially close this out, I do have to ask you, Bonita, one final question. And that question is, what made you want to, well, when you had received the invitation to be a guest on Knowledge and Relationships, what made you just say, hey, let me give you guys a try?
Part of the reason is anyone who invites me onto their platform, I feel is a big deal because they're taking time out of their day, their schedule, especially when they're doing it for free. You know what I'm saying? It's a big deal and a huge compliment, right? And so really it is, I feel grateful to just even be invited on. And then even having conversations with well, I know him as Intellectual SoapBox, not Mr. Best in the World 84. But, you know, just having conversations with him when he called when he called me, give me the rundown, like there was someone else who invited me on their YouTube channel and they were like 4 hours late. You know what I'm saying? Then they had me waiting a whole nother hour and I just hopped off. And with his energy and the conversations that we had with each other, even though I let him know, like, hey, if y'all are more than an hour late, I'm going to bounce out. I didn't feel like that was going to be the case. I didn't feel like that was going to be the thing. So just him being a part of this channel and him inviting me on and me being grateful is what basically got me on here. And he's always supporting. So it also made me want to like support him on his channel, even though I was the one invited. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I not like hop on when you're inviting me? And also you take time into your day to have me on here and support me on Instagram and things like that.
That's fair enough.
Thank you, family. I appreciate that. I needed that. Encouragement is always needed, man. For real. I think we got to remind ourselves of that. Encouragement is always needed. It's a necessity. For real.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And with that being said, I would like to encourage everyone to please follow Bonita Poetry on Instagram. Definitely, like, check out like her spoken word. Please, like, just give her a holler, like, not like holler as in like trying like slide in her DMs, but please just give you guys like give her like some support. And Bonita, like, if anything, you're always welcome to like come to like our open panels if you wish. And, again, we are also grateful for you to allow us to for you to give your time to us. I know it's been 2 hours, so I'm going to hurry up and wrap this up. But thank you again. We appreciate you. All right. So everybody, thank you guys again for tuning into Knowledge and Relationships. Make sure you ladies and gentlemen get your minds right. Man, it feels good to say that again because I haven't said that in a minute. But anyways, always get your minds right and stay tuned for tomorrow's topic. Again, we're not going to tell you what it is. Just look for it in a thumbnail. Now, as far as with the time, to be announced. But other than that, thank you guys for tuning in, and we are out. See you later, everybody. Peace.
Knowledge and relationships.